Hello, and welcome to the Human Being 101 podcast. I'm Kathleen Schaefer, and this is Conversations with Kathleen, where we discuss how to live the mission of the Human Being Store: better people, better work, better world. At HBS, our work is based on a new way of leading in our careers and our lives, and this podcast focuses on how to do that through the lens of current events. As I sit down to do this recording today, I'm struck by the fact that a week ago I made the declaration that it had been an incredible week of change for us. And here we are a week later with even more dramatic changes being experienced in the world. And before I get started with today's discussion, I'd like to just, remind people of that fact that if I suggested to you a week ago that millions of Americans would be sheltering, in place in their homes, that we would be, closing all non-essential activities in our world, you would have thought that to be, incredibly dramatic and probably very unclear about what that would mean for you in your life. And here we are a week later where that is a reality, and we're all still here. And we are navigating through it. And we are finding that, in each step here into the unknown, that we are able to create a way forward for ourselves, for our families, for our neighbors, for our community. And so the one piece that I hope to leave everyone with today is that you do have the power to navigate through this successfully, and that, the more that you orient toward the power that you have to create what it is that you want in terms of outcome and in terms of the opportunities that are being presented to us, as challenging as some of those may be, it will lead us in a direction in which we all want to go. You've already done it. You've done it this past week. And the practice here over these coming weeks as we navigate through this coronavirus pandemic is to keep that in mind, that we do have the capacity to lead through this. So the main point that I want to discuss today is that this is a moment to grab hold of our leadership, to connect to the best of ourselves, to look toward those opportunities to create anew that which we've been wanting to create in our lives, in our work, in our world. And just as importantly, this is an opportunity to examine and be clear about what we also want to let go of. What is no longer working that we can let go. And it's in these moments of dramatic crisis and change that we're able to do this with greater speed. And the way that we make sure that it's done so that it will serve us all well into the future is by doing it, with clarity and consciousness. So how do we do that, especially with so many people now in upheaval, whether having work that does no longer exist, whether we're working remotely, whether we're essential workers and working under, dramatic conditions to create change. How do we grab hold of our leadership and exercise it in this moment? So I'm going to give you some specific and concrete ways that I've been talking about doing this based on the leadership connection model that is at the core, cornerstone foundation of the work that we do here at the Human Being Store. So, one of the things that we always talk about is understanding and knowing your gift. And from that perspective, I'd like people to know and understand that who you are, what makes you unique, has not changed just because so much in the outside world has. And that we are a society that tends to orient more from the outside in. This is a role, this is a job, this is a title, this is an organization to which I belong. And yet, who you are, what you have to offer the world, has not changed just because the way or the roles or the titles or the organizations or the world has changed. And when we can anchor into that perspective as an individual, as a member of a group or organization, that we are who we are, regardless, that's where we start to connect into our power. as we, begin to understand ourselves and know what we have to offer, we do have ways that we prefer to live and work. And when we have been used to showing up to organizations, and I will talk more in future podcasts about the way in which we work and how it is disintegrating, that the norms and the ways of the organization have often overtaken how we as individuals can best function. So one of the things I'm encouraging people to do during this time is to use this as an opportunity in a moment to discover and examine more about the way you prefer to work. What is the daily flow that works best for you? Do you prefer more times of quiet where you can get work done? Is there a need to connect with people externally to stimulate your thoughts on certain points? But in all of this, there are a couple of key factors. One is beginning to know and understand yourself well enough that you can communicate that to your team. The second, and I'm asking everyone to reflect on this, is that the assembly line model means that we all show up and we all work for a certain number of hours doing the same things, but that doesn't always relate to productivity. And that as we are shifting to, many to this remote work model, what is it that you really need to do each day to be productive and to contribute what is the best that you can contribute to your organizations and your teams at this moment? And that may look different. And that's, to me, one of the gifts that's going to come out of this is that we're going to really be able to expand how people engage with work to make it more productive for everyone. So as a part of this, being able to articulate to teammates, being able to, know what is going to work for you in this current environment about how you engage with your work remotely, that when you are clear about the contribution that you make to the team and, the organization, the group, whatever you're working with, it's easier to orient. And so many people in organizations are unclear about what their contribution is, or they're not sure about it. Again, when you're all showing up in the same workplace, some of that can be covered up. But when you're working, remotely, that lack of clarity about what people contribute, what the value of that, and how best to do that really gets laid bare. So I'm encouraging both individuals, employees to get clear about what they feel is the best contribution, to be able to articulate that, and to be able to have those kinds of conversations with teammates, with supervisors, colleagues, whomever it is, so that everybody's on the same page. We're just not getting the same social cues that we get when we're, in an office environment together. So it's important to get clear and be able to communicate that with the people with whom you're working. In terms of what we call here, our alignment of purpose, in all of this, I would say that the what is needed and what is being called for at this moment is pacing and care. Is that there is a lot of upheaval. There is a lot of uncertainty. And that what people are needing to do is to just be kind to themselves and not force anything at this moment. There is going to be a period here where we're going to, be experiencing all kinds of different things coming at us each day. This period will end, and while we're in this period, everybody's going to have their own process of how they're going to navigate through this. And I've heard about this even from, colleagues and clients in the medical field and others. They're racing to try and solve problems only to find out by the next morning or even a few hours later that the issue has completely changed. So my recommendation to clients and to everyone that I come into contact with is to just be slow, be measured. Not to say that you don't move when you want to move and there aren't things to do, but we're going to find out there's going to be a lot of changes still here in the next week or so, and it's important that we care for ourselves during this time, both in terms of our health and what's happening, with the pandemic, and in terms of our work, that we just need to pace and be kind and march through this in a way that honors ourselves and those around us. That, step 4 of our leadership connection model is leadership skills. And one of the core leadership skills, we have 3: communication, conscious choice, and conflict resolution. And the one I'm focusing on at the moment is the conscious choice one. And as much as people are able to make the choice to look for the opportunities, for the positives in what's going on. There's a lot of reason to focus on fear and negativity. It's everywhere, social media, news media, and that as leaders, as people who get out ahead of issues and challenges, we can focus on all of the things that are happening now, or we can begin to look just a step or two ahead and see where we may go. Again, I am cautioning people that things are still going to change and mutate so much here. And that what you can do, though, is orient yourself toward, where's the opportunity, that things are going to work out. How are we going to be able to navigate as a team, as an organization, and particularly as individuals through this? Where's the opportunity here? Keep asking yourself that question and see what comes. As teams, as managers, as colleagues on teams, I am asking people to be particularly attuned to different people's styles and different people's experiences. Ultimately, leadership is about how we navigate and bring forward the skills, the talents, the strengths, the gifts of various team members at the right time and the right place, depending on what is called for and needed by the team in that moment. And particularly now, it's important that we're attuned to that in terms of the work and what we're doing. It's also particularly important that we're attuned to it in terms of the individuals. Everybody's having a different experience with this. We all have, different family structures, different community structures, different work structures, extended family and community. We're all being impacted by this in different ways. And so the more that we can be attuned to what individuals are experiencing and not expecting that it all looks the same and not expecting everybody to contribute and be the same and just see it as a part of this process, the easier it would be. This is not a moment to make problems where they don't exist. This is a moment to step in with your leadership and offer support to individuals wherever they are in the moment and move them forward. We talk in step 6 of our model is real world results. And I say to people at this moment, it's keep it simple. Again, we're not going to be able to get a lot done at this moment. There is so much changing that the more that you can simplify what does need to happen, be able to move it forward, very concretely and succinctly and clearly, the better it is going to be for everyone at this time. We're not going to be making long-term strategic plans at the moment, but we can begin to put into place the things that simply come next. So take small, clear, concrete steps. And finally, step 7, reflect and refocus. This is a time to utilize this step, more than ever. Every day, what's working, let's, figure out how we can do more of it. What's not working? How do we let that go or shift or change it? We are in a period of constant evolution now. And the more that we can be mindful of, letting go of what's no longer working and focusing on what is, the better off we're all going to be. So the call to action this week that I leave with all of you is to invite you to a series of free group sessions that we're doing about leading and succeeding in remote work. Attached to this recording, you will find information about how to sign up for those. You can always reach out to us at hello@humanbeingstore.com. We will get back to you. You can visit our website at humanbeingstore.com. And our way to support our clients and to support our community through this process is to give people the opportunity to come to gather and to have these discussions about what this is going to mean for each one of us as individuals and how we engage with our work and our organization, how we create better community moving forward, and how we do this based on the knowing of who we are, our leadership, and what it is that we can offer to the world. So we're going to be offering these actually every day for the next 6 weeks. More information will be coming out about that. But we encourage you, if there's anything that you feel that you need for your teams, for yourself, reach out to us. We are here. We are a resource. For better or for worse, this is the work that we do. We orient people to new ways of engaging work that is based on being fulfilling for themselves, based on offering the best of themselves, having the best impact in organizations, particularly in non-traditional workways, and that we're making the changes and having the impact in our communities and our societies that we want to have. So I wish you all the best, be well, and I look forward to talking with you next week.